War is coming, my friends.
Are you sure it's wise to start the war with New York society? Aren't you asking for trouble?
Season 2 of The Gilded Age will be expanding the feud between old money and new money with even more drama than the previous season, if you can believe it. As a refresher or for new viewers, you will recall that The Gilded Age is set in 1882 New York and follows a storyline that delves into the clash between the affluent old money and upstart new money. The newly wealthy Russell family yearns for acceptance into high society, while established powerhouses like Agnes Van Ryn despise the nouveau riche, decrying any attempt to invade established old money society as foolish and ruinous.
Now, you need to know we only receive the old people in this house, not the new. Never the new. While I am struggling, trying to hold back the tide of vulgarians that threatens to engulf us.
It's been 2 years in the making, and Season 2 of The Gilded Age takes us deep into the heart of New York City's dramatic conflict, known as the War of the Operas, which, by the way, really is based upon true historical events. The story begins with the rise of opera in mid-19th century New York City. As the city boomed with immigrants, commerce, and artistic fervor, the demand by the elite for grand spectacles and refined entertainment grew exponentially. Opera, with its captivating blend of music, drama, and visual splendor, found a receptive audience in the city's highest social classes. The social elites, eager to showcase their wealth and sophistication, flocked to opera houses as a symbol of their refined tastes. It was a time when the upper class sought to emulate the European aristocracy, and opera became an embodiment of their aspirations. Enter the Academy of Music. The elite's need for an opera house was met with the rise of the Academy of Music, which opened its doors in 1854. Located in the heart of Manhattan, this grand venue quickly became the epitome of high culture and refinement. With its lavish interiors adorned with crystal chandeliers, ornate balconies, and plush seating, the Academy of Music was a testament to the opulence and grandeur associated with opera. The 4,000-seat hall opened on October 2, 1854. It was the world's largest opera venue at the time, with seats arranged on 5 levels and an interior height from floor to dome of 80 feet. The several tiers of boxes were beautifully decorated with gilt ornaments and chandeliers, and the dome was richly painted in panels representing music, poetry, comedy, and tragedy. Only the oldest and most prominent families owned seats in the theater's boxes. This emblem of social prominence was passed down from generation to generation and was designed to exclude everyone else. After a serious fire in 1866, the Academy went through a series of rebuildings and renovations that gradually reduced its seating capacity to about 2,500, and the number of boxes available to the elites became even more limited. The Academy's opera season became the center of social life for New York's wealthy gentry. From its inception, the Academy of Music not only presented opera, but also served as a theater and a meeting and exposition hall for a wide variety of functions, including political rallies, charity balls, and science and industry fairs, as well as a venue for masked balls, also called French balls. In 1860, it was the site of a reception for the Prince of Wales. The opera season started up in New York in the fall, along with all kinds of balls including costume balls, formal dinners, and holiday parties, but it was without a doubt the Academy of Music Opera that was the defining element of who was who in New York high society. Fast forward to 1882, Season 1 of The Gilded Age TV series on HBO. In Season 1 of The Gilded Age, we saw how Bertha Russell won the Battle of the Balls with the season finale. She had managed to get acknowledgement from Agnes Van Ryn and Mrs. Astor by forcing their hand and getting them to attend the coming-out ball for her daughter Gladys, even when they were fighting so hard to keep her out of their sphere of old family wealth and status.
You seem to have won the first battle.
I intend to win the war.
Also, early on in the series, there were hints that the War of the Operas was looming beyond the Battle of the Balls. In Episode 3, the haughty wife of City Alderman Patrick Morris, Anne Morris, carries the gossip to Mrs. Astor of hints that the new money families were organizing to build a new opera. At a luncheon with Mrs. Astor, she divulged that a group of new people mean to challenge the Academy of Music and create another opera house. Anne Morris revealed that the group had already met at Delmonico's and decided that since they weren't allowed boxes at the Academy, they were going to build their own house. The so-called malcontents were identified as J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, and the Vanderbilts, characterized as the Russells in the HBO show. In other words, every opportunist in New York.
These people. You shut the door, they come in the window. You shut the window, they come down the chimney. They never give up.
In a subsequent episode, we see that nothing would indeed stop Bertha Russell, aka Alva Vanderbilt. She managed to worm her way into one of those elite boxes at the Academy of Music thanks to an invite from Aurora Fane where she could sit right up front for everyone to see her, resplendent in the latest European fashion, that awesome red dress. While Season 1 is noted to have taken place in 1882, the trailer for Season 2 brings us into 1883 and a looming war in New York society that portends to be even more fierce than the first. No matter how tenuous the peace between Bertha Russell and Mrs. Astor at the spectacular ball that marked the end of Season 1, we can count on Season 2 to take a turn for the worse when it comes to allocating theater boxes for opera performances. It was known as the War of the Opera Houses, and it really did take place in history. On October 22, 1883, the Metropolitan Opera House opened its doors at 1411 Broadway in Manhattan, New York, and it was explicitly designed to outshine the Academy in every way. The Academy realized its mistake too late and, in a panic, offered to add new boxes for the new money families, but it was now their turn to snub the old theater. Architect J. Cleveland Cady was commissioned by the new money families to construct an opera house twice the size of the Academy, with a focus on greater opulence. Cady was directed to create a design that could accommodate as many boxes as possible, given the demand from over 250 nouveau riche individuals seeking private boxes. Additionally, he was tasked with incorporating several elegantly designed rooms into the building. In total, there were 122 boxes, many of which were quickly claimed by the new money people. Almost immediately, 25 of the most affluent new money families, including the Vanderbilts, Golitz, Morgans, Wilsons, Goulds, and Rockefellers, acquired private boxes at a price of approximately $15,000 each, valued at approximately $46,000 today. Subsequently, numerous other families also acquired boxes. The first tier of boxes was reserved for the most fashionable guests and earned the name Diamond Horseshoe, although Mrs. Astor claimed it was named after her renowned 200-stone diamond necklace, a claim never substantiated, while the second tier was where individuals of lesser social standing were seated according to society's standards. The auditorium, the largest space in New York, boasted 3,200 seats. One end featured a grand entrance, while the other end housed the massive stage. This stage was specifically designed to accommodate the hundreds of actors who performed there, standing at an impressive height of 2 stories. It was equipped with state-of-the-art machinery to ensure smooth and seamless performances. Just imagine the opening night of the Metropolitan Opera as a lavish spectacle of music, fashion, and ostentatious wealth. The event was a clear statement of the new money family's social ambitions and their intention to upset the established order. As the curtain fell on the inaugural performance, it was clear that a new era had dawned in New York's high society. The War of the Operas marked a significant shift in New York's social landscape. The old guard, led by Caroline Astor, was forced to concede defeat and relocate to the Met, signaling the rise of the new money families. Today, the original Metropolitan Opera House no longer stands, having been replaced by a modern structure at Lincoln Center. But the legacy of the War of the Operas lives on, a testament to a time when opera houses were the battlegrounds for New York's social elite, and the city's cultural scene was forever transformed by the clash of old money and new.